Okay. All right. Let's get my window shade. Now, so this is fun, Candace. Sometimes people go outside with their phone or their computer and they garden too, if they want to. So it's sort of fun, but I'm today's it's sort of nice to be I have a new format, you guys. I just want to do a little housekeeping today. What we're going to do now from going forward, I've got an actual format of these calls now, so they're going to be super you know what to expect every time. So we'll for the beginning, we're just going to have everybody checking in, and then we'll have our lesson go pretty quickly right away. And then after that, at the end, we're after the lesson, we're going to talk about what we're going to plant right now. Oh, here we go. Judy. Yay. Judy. Hey there. Hey Judy, we just missed Candace is here too, and Rosemary and Christy. So, and then we're going to go into what to plant now, and then we're going to go into seed starting. What's that? I'm just going over our agenda that was going to be, it's our new format that we're doing every week. And after that, we're going to go into, we're going to give you guys some chance at the end to talk about what's happening in your garden and then do some troubleshooting and then action steps and homework. So that's going to be the hour. It's going to go by pretty quick. So great to have you guys here. Let me share my screen. Share. And we'll get that down. Get that down. And there we go. So today I am very excited about today's lesson because it's a word I throw around a lot, and I'm sure everybody hears it a lot, and it's called pollinators. And there's a lot to be said for pollinators. So we're going to learn. There's actually too much. We can't even learn all in a day, but we're going to skim the surface. But we are going to welcome our new member today is Megan Bichelle, and we're so happy to have her as one of our new members. Now, this is another new feature I'm going to do every week. If you guys post and tag me, I'm going to pick a Fancy Pants Gardener of the Week. And I picked Christy Hart because she shared her beautiful harvest. Her garden only went in a few weeks ago, and she's already harvesting all this basil and parsley and her Swiss chard. And I'm so
Thank you.
yay! So I'm very proud of you and
Yay.
love seeing you guys. I really appreciate it when you guys post and tag me. It makes me happy because I get to see what you're doing, and it just promotes everybody. I really am grateful. So just want to thank you so much. All right, let's get into all about pollinators. Okay, what is a pollinator? Well, we sort of know what that is. It's an animal, an insect, and they transfer pollen around and they jump on the flowers and things, and they help pollinate the flowers, which help them grow. And I don't know if you knew this, but some plants actually self-pollinate. They can just rely on wind or water. So that's pretty cool. And but there's many, many plants, and most of them are our vegetables, which you guys know that's what we're growing. This is the big thing that we're doing is we want to have successful vegetable gardens. And that means we need to attract the bees, the butterflies, the moths, the birds, the bats, the beetles, the flies, and maybe even some small mammals. So that is what the truth is that we really do need to attract these wonderful pollinators into our garden. And this is interesting. I thought that did you know that pollinators are directly responsible for almost every 3 bites of food we eat. So that is so important because without the pollinators, most plants cannot produce fruits. And if we don't have fruits, we don't have seeds. Actually, I want to point out here on the right at the top, those are my favorite nasturtiums. They are wonderful pollinator plants, and they're also called a trap plant because they trap insects that are not beneficial. So those are fun to have around because they protect our other plants from pests, but they're beautiful to look at, and they're also completely edible. The leaves and the flowers are completely edible. So that's a wonderful plant to have. And then below that is our zinnias, which are so colorful and so easy to grow from seed. So we're going to be, one of the things I think about being in the membership is that I really am going to be showing you pictures and repeating over and over. You're probably going to, I want to try to keep saying a lot of the same plants over and over because then you'll get familiar with them and you'll start recognizing them. And it was so cute. I have a funny story to tell. We were doing an installation the other day, and Eric always knows that when I go to look for plants to buy for our clients, when it comes to rosemary, there's two types of rosemary. There's a draping rosemary, which we all see all the time in parking lots and in pots and things like that, which is edible and you can cook with it. But there's also the rosemary that grows straight up, and that's the kind that I like to buy for our raised beds because they're a little more they're more for the culinary. They're better for culinary. So it was funny. So we were coming out of a restaurant and he looked over and he goes, "Look, honey, look at this draping rosemary." And I was so proud of him because now his world is coming alive. He's noticing plants and he knows the names of them. And you guys are going to start seeing that too. You're going to run around and it's like learning a new language or learning how to draw. All of a sudden, the world is becoming so much more alive and fun. This is a cone flower, and you'll see those around a lot. They're very easy to grow. It's also known as echinacea, which we all heard of as in a medicinal way. So some of the common pollinators in our desert climate are our bees and our butterflies and our hummingbirds, moths, and beetles. I like this picture because we've got a butterfly and a bee sharing the flower together. So let's just really do a quick, I mean, this is like a silly little lesson on how it works, but the the pollinator visits the flower, it collects the nectar, and then it goes to the next flower to collect more nectar. But what it doesn't realize is it's dropping off some of the pollen from this flower over here, and then from this flower to this flower. And that's how things get pollinated, is because everything's being transferred around. So we really do want bees. And we're talking about bees. And look at this bee. Now, this is something, I really want this to be a homework assignment for you guys. This is going to be really fun. I want you to go out into your garden and watch bees. Like put a timer on for 5 to 10 minutes because you are going to be surprised at how joyful and relaxing it is to watch the bees go to work. And they actually, this little guy, he just is having a blast. It's like he's been in a snowball fight with pollen. He's having so much fun. He's got his pollen all over the place. But a lot of them, bees collect the pollen in their back legs. And if you go out and just sit and watch the bees, you can see that a lot of the times their back hind legs have almost this, like a yellow snowball of pollen. And that's where it's almost like they have a little pocket in the back of their legs and it stores the pollen. So you'll see little pockets of yellow on the bee's legs. So this is a fun thing to do, and I highly recommend you go out and watch the bees work. And another interesting thing about the bees is that we have, I think right now, I just read an article from there's a company called the Xerces Society, and they are all about protecting and educating people about our pollinators and mostly pollinators and different things like that. And they had a really good article about the bees. And one of them was saying that everybody's talking about how, the honeybees their hives are not thriving. But I want you guys to know that the honeybees are not native to America. They came over from Europe, and sometimes they're saying that now that so many people are trying to raise them, it's maybe not even it might be doing more harm than good. So we really have to be aware of what we're reading and what we're listening to in the news, and just be aware of what the reality is and what we're going to be doing, because we don't want to cause problems. But one of the things I think that is not talked about enough are our native bees. And those are the bees that are in our area. Do you know Nevada has over 4,000 varieties of native bees. And those are the ones that do a lot of our heavy lifting in the pollination department. So if you get interested in bees, it's fun to maybe go down a little rabbit hole about them and what kind of bees that we do have here. You can even get, laminated charts and see the different types of bees and start noticing them and start being aware of them like you are the flowers because they have lots of different jobs. These are a bunch of them here. One of the things I want to point out, I'm not going to go over all of these, is the leaf cutter bee. And one one of the first, I remember when I started working at the help desk at the Master Gardens, they have a help desk. If you ever actually really do have a super technical question that I don't know how to answer, we can all call the help desk at the Master Garden Extension. And somebody came in, they had a rose bush, and the flowers on the rose bush had all these perfectly, it looked like someone had just come in with a cookie cutter and cut these little circles all over the leaves. And I found out that it's actually called a leaf cutter bee. And it's one of those things where it doesn't really harm the plant. It doesn't look pretty, but it doesn't really harm the plant. And if you ever Google leaf cutter bees, they make the most beautiful homes out of these little cookie cutters leaves. And I don't even know how to describe it. They make like a little tunnel with the cuttings out of the leaves. And it's really quite beautiful. So it's fun to learn about the leaf cutter bee and maybe go out and see. I was out this morning and I actually did notice that some of my rose leaves did have the little circles cut out of them. And I thought, oh, that's good. I've got some leaf cutter bees here somewhere. That's actually a good thing. So not all holes in our leaves are bad. So one of the most important things is to remember that our native plants, and that means a plant that is native to our dry, un very dry and not very nutritious soil and doesn't need a lot of water. That would be something that would be a native plant to our area. That native plants equal healthy pollinator populations. So it is nice to have native plants in our yards and as well as pollinator plants in our yard. And there's another thing to think about, and that is our pollinators are here all year long. Summer, winter, fall, spring. They're here looking for food. And the flowers all bloom at different times of year. So it's really interesting to be aware that if you really, really want to be a steward of our land, to be cognizant of when the flowers or how long they bloom so that we can have a continuous food source for our pollinators. So that's another challenge that they have is they run out of food. Again, here are the zinnias. I think they're so pretty. They actually come in lots of different colors. And this is like a mixed bag. This is our Indian blanket flower. And it's a native. It does very well here. And it's easy to grow from seed, as are the zinnias and the coneflowers. These are very easy to sprinkle around your yard and they will come up and be wonderful for our
I'm
pollen.
s- I'm saving seeds from my Indian blanket flowers if anybody wants them.
Oh, yay! Okay, so they've already bloomed and they're dried out now.
From the last season, I've already saved them.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh, so see, there you go. Good. That's wonderful. You probably have lots of seeds. We got okay, so there you go. We got to have a seed sharing. We'll do it in the fall. We're going to do a seed sharing in the fall because that'll
How
be
long does it, can I ask a question about the zinnias? How
yes.
long does it usually take for them to, like, I put a bunch of them down because we had some old seeds but the seeds might be over 10 years old, but I haven't had any luck yet. I've been watering, but I haven't seen anything. How long does it usually take to see some growth from a zinnia?
So you just sort of said something that's the hard part. Seeds go bad after
Okay.
they can go bad. So that's why they usually have a 2 to 3 to 5 maybe lifespan. Now I don't know why I have heard, of course there are seeds that have longer ones. A good way to test your seed if you want to know before, if it's an older seed like your zinnia seed, would be to put it in get out some paper towel and wet the paper towel, and then put the seed on the wet paper towel, and then put that in a plastic baggie and close it up, and just put it on your counter. It doesn't need to be in the sun or anything. And that way you can see the seed sprouting in the paper towel. And
Oh, okay.
it would do that within, I would say, 5 days.
Okay.
So, and if that doesn't, and then if you do that with like 3 or 4 seeds, you want to make it with 3 or 4 seeds so that it's like popcorn and not all of it pops. So if
Sure.
them germinate, then you'll know, oh, you get maybe a 50% germination rate. That's the other thing about seeds, everybody. Not, you can get a packet of seeds and they actually will tell you the germination percentage on the packet of seed because, again, not all seeds germinate, and it's just the way it is. So we just always have to put more in than we think we need, and then go back and thin them if need be. With the flowers, you don't really have to thin them because more flowers are great. But with a lot of other things like our carrots and radishes and lettuces, the tiny seeds, we need to thin them to give them a little space to grow. Okay, so let's see here. So herbs are very good to attract pollinators. Our rosemary and our lavender and our thyme at the point of flowering will be when they will attract the pollinators. And the good part is it's still edible. The flowers of all our herbs are edible. So if it goes flowering, it's fine. It's delicious and it's pretty. This is a new, yes.
Sorry, I had one thing to say about cilantro. That when it flowers and then it goes to seed, and that seed is coriander, right?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So yeah.
Which I have now on my cilantro, which is so cute. And I told my husband, I blew his mind. He was like, "What? How is that possible?"
But and I heard, now I have to figure this out. Somebody told me that you can grow sesame seeds.
Really?
So I'm gonna put that down. I want to grow sesame seeds. I think that would be a fun thing.
Like for microgreens?
No, you can grow the sesame seeds like you buy, like the dried seeds.
Oh, how much? Okay.
I think that would be a fun thing. So your coriander, so let me ask you this, because I haven't seen, so once the cilantro, it gets those little white flowers.
Yes, they're really delicate and
Very
beautiful.
delicate. And I was wondering, is it in like the pot? Where is it in that part? You don't happen to have one around, do you? That you can
Yeah.
Here, let's see. Yeah, there they are. There's the
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
They turn green a little bit, don't they?
yeah, the flowers eventually turn into
The little pod. And it's obviously, and then do you pick it do you have to wait till it's dry to pick it?
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna wait until because I was picking the flowers and then I was like, oh no, it's turning into coriander. I should not pick the flowers. So I'm
Right.
gonna wait until all the flowers turn to coriander and then pick them and then hang them.
Yeah, because I do the same thing. I have the arugula, and
Mhm.
the arugula gets those beautiful flowers, but they spread out those beautiful pea pods that are filled with seeds.
Mm.
And right now they're green. I opened one of the pods the other day. They're green, so I'm going to wait.
Oh,
I'm going to wait till they turn brown inside the pod, and then I'll save them. So when you save seeds, you really want them to be brown.
and kale is doing the same thing, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you guys, we will be, okay, seed saving. That will be probably in the summer. We can talk more about seed saving because it's really fun to see. It is wonderful to save seeds because talk about saving money and having very fresh seeds that are going to be good and viable in our climate. If they've survived already one season here, they're going to survive another season.
To the point of staying out, right?
I'm sorry?
I was just saying also like knowing that whatever seeds you saved, clearly that plant was very happy in Vegas, no problems.
That's exactly right.
It's
So
a happy guy.
it is so interesting because so many of the seed companies are out of the Midwest or New York or just cold areas. And they're not going to really do as well here as if we find seeds from more local sources. And nothing better than your own backyard. But I wanted to share with you that California poppies are very good pollinator plants. And I actually put some in a client's raised bed recently, and they did so well. And I didn't realize that they could be so happy here. And poppies are usually orange, but you can get them in a variety of colors. So another wonderful, beautiful flower to try in your garden. Easy to grow and does tend to thrive here. So wild flowers and perennials. I want to talk about some more definitions. I actually been accumulating a list of garden terms that I want to be able to share with everybody eventually. And because again, we throw out so many of these words and we might not really quite understand what they mean. So what's the difference between a perennial and an annual plant? So an annual is something that you're going to have to plant again and again every year. That would be like your vegetables, like your tomatoes have to be planted every year, usually, unless somehow a seed gets in there and comes back. But your basil has to come back every year. Now, what's a perennial? Well, that would be like your mint or your thyme or your rosemary. Those all come back. They might not even ever die. Some of them, like the old, some of them like they'll get old and sort of a little bit dry looking, but they will, like your oregano, it doesn't really go brown, all brown. It will stay a little bit green, but it will look sad in the winter. But then it pops right back and comes back. Thyme does similar too. Thyme doesn't really like the winter too much, but it will stay around and come back. So some of the some of these plants I want to share with you that are very easy to grow and really good as a pollinator is a Shasta daisy, which is what it sounds like. It's a white flower with a yellow middle. It looks like a daisy. This is a plant I wanted to show you guys right here. This is an Apache plume. The Apache plume. It is such a beautiful plant. It's really pretty big and it grows almost like a bush, but it has that beautiful light pink plume that blooms for quite a bit during the spring and summer. So I want you guys to have your eyes peeled. I have seen them at Star, but keep your eyes peeled around town for them because they are around quite a bit. It's a very good plant, easy to grow, and they're so pretty. And of course, black-eyed Susans, which we all know, a little yellow flower with the black center. And then Indian blanket flower, which I showed earlier that Rosemary said she has in her garden, the orange flower. Coneflower, yarrow. Yarrow is it's actually in the carrot family, and it is a yellow, feathery looking plant, very pretty. Bee balm. This see it here on the right, you guys, that purple plant. Bee balm. You will see it at Star. And I highly recommend grabbing it and putting in your garden just as a pollinator plant. It's very pretty. They come in purple and they come in red. And they're just so pretty. So I highly recommend getting a bee balm. And then, of course, on the right is the Coreopsis, which is a great flower to dry, and you can also use it for medicinal reasons. So, and I like to say it, Coreopsis. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. But it's a very common flower. All right. Does everybody know most of these flowers, or are some of these new for you?
New for me. Is the bee balm, is you buying it as a seedling?
Yes, you
Or
can buy
like,
a seedling at the Star. They have them. I saw them the other day.
okay.
I don't know. It's funny because you know how I'm always talking about when you go to buy a plant, you want to get the smallest one that you can, and you don't really want it to be open. And the bee balm, I don't know what color it is, but a lot of time it is red, which is pretty. It's not there's not that many red things that we can put in our garden. So it wouldn't matter really if it's red or purple, but I haven't seen it open, so I didn't know which one it was. But they do have it there. All right, so that's the end. Does anybody have any questions? So sort of a very fast thing, but isn't this fun to understand a little bit more about our pollinators and really how important it is to have them in our garden because we do want to attract them. And this morning, oh, I couldn't believe it. I have some arugula that's gone to flower. And the hummingbird was just over there this morning, just going to town with the flower, having it, just really having a fun time with it. And also, it was, what else was it over there with? It was with the arugula and something else. But it's fun because I mean, here I have hummingbirds in my raised beds. Really a treat. Very much.
I noticed today, I think I told you I'm having a problem with aphids, and they're on my kale, the giant one that's been going for over a year, and now it has the bean pods. There were 3 birds in the kale today eating the aphids off of it.
So, okay, perfect. Perfect.
It was
Well,
crazy.
so you either get the birds in there eating your seedlings, which you want to
Yeah.
kill them, and then they come back and eat the aphids, which you want to love them. So
Yeah.
we got to have a little bit of everything.
Oh, and I may have gone a little crazy plant lady. I already told you, Jamie, I went to Star Nursery today, and I really only went for 2 plants, and I ended up coming home with like 12 because the indoor ones on Eastern were half off, but they were really sad, so I'm trying to save them. But I also brought home an earthworm from Star Nursery.
Or what do you mean? Was it in the pot?
It was when I grabbed my creeping fig up, it was underneath it on the ground, and I was like, "Well, that's coming home with me."
Oh my goodness.
I
That
stole a
is
worm.
good. Okay. Now we're really going crazy plant living. We're collecting worms. I love that. That is such a, where did you hide it? Did you just put it in the pot?
Yeah, I just put it in the pot. Yep. I
Okay,
felt a
everybody.
little crazy, but I was laughing at myself. So
No, I think that's great. And I would have done the same thing. Absolutely, Rosemary. I would have done the same thing. Oh, that's good.
So,
That's,
Jamie, I have a quick question. It's Judy.
hey,
So
Judy.
on the seeds, hi, what about, oh, here, I'll take my video. What about buying seeds online? I just saw something on my feed that was saying something about all these different seeds. They were heirloom seeds.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And so I was going to try it. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Well, yes. Okay. So let's just hold on 1 second because I'm going to go right into that right now, which I
Oh,
think
okay, perfect.
perfect
Yeah.
segue, Judy. That was perfect.
Okay. All right, bye. I'm gonna go because I'm making dinner. I don't want to
Okay.
make noise. So
Okay. So,
okay, go ahead. I'm listening. Yeah.
well, we're starting off with about what we're going to plant this week, but we're going to start off with the seedlings, which is the ones that we buy at the store in the pots. So here's the situation, everybody. We are getting May. Okay, we're almost to May now. So we're getting ready to get into our hot part of the year. So now it's a little bit iffy about what things are going to survive or do well and how fast they're going to grow. So if you are going to plant a tomato or your peppers or your eggplant or your basil or your marigolds or some of your herbs, you should be buying them in a seedling format. So they need to be sprouting, they need to be healthy, they need to be already get going. And don't forget, you guys, even if you're buying things at the nursery, you should, well, I think it's okay right now. We're sort of still temperate, but you got to remember when you buy a plant at the nursery, you want to make sure to harden it off. And hardening off is another one of those definitions. That means we have to let the plant adjust from being on the inside to the outside. So we give it a couple of hours, an hour or two outside, bring it back in. The next day, 3 hours outside, bring it back in, and then adjust it for maybe 4 or 5 days to get it acclimated to the weather and before planting it. So,
And even if someone gives you some seedlings, because someone gave me some and they didn't tell me anything, they just gave them to me and I killed them all.
what do you think happened? Is it just they weren't ready to be outside yet?
Correct.
Wow, good point. So,
Yeah, I should have asked. But they also gave me a couple of tomato plants that were bigger. They're of course fine, but
right,
it was
right.
yeah,
The small ones didn't quite. They weren't quite ready to take the
no.
outside. Yeah. So this is where we're at. So now I'm going to go into Judy's question, which is currently planting from seed, and this is where our newbies get into trouble because we got to remember everybody. And I have given it to you. It's in our it's in our past lessons. I have given you guys a chart on our warm plants and our cool plants. So right now we're going into warm and hot plants. So if you're going to plant a seed, you can definitely right now, you can start with a cucumber, no problem. Your watermelon, we're ready to plant watermelons, guys. Watermelons and melons. It's time to do it. You can do it right now. Our bush beans, a bush bean.
Can we use watermelon seeds that we are eating, or are those the same kind of
Yeah,
seeds?
okay, so I would recommend, because our growing season is a little bit short for melons, actually. If you were to get a melon seed, I would only go for a smaller type melon. So like,
Okay.
and I
You
would,
know what? That makes sense. Let me tell you something really quick. I think I mentioned to you where the current raised planter is, Joe Jamie, that you, Enrico, put in. There used to be cantaloupe there that just grew randomly when we moved in. These
yes,
cantaloupes grew naturally, maybe a bird or whatever.
yes,
So those are a smaller melon that might work in this environment. Well, I know they work. So
yeah,
there you go.
yeah. Like a cantaloupe works great. And I mean, we can get a big one, but I think, especially for a newbie, it's easier to do the smaller ones. And as you get more advanced, and that's because you're going to have to feed it more. You have to get these little wood things to or hang them with pantyhose, like keep it off the ground. I mean, it gets a little more advanced if you get these bigger pumpkins or bigger um, watermelons. So we'll go, and as it gets into this is why this class is so fun, because as we get going and our fruit is growing, and I'm going to start giving you the tips of how to treat it and how to take care of it, because you just don't let them go. You got to get them off the ground and watch for pests and all these kind of things. So to start with, I think a smaller melon. And so I'm sure that would be fine. I think that would be fine, but I don't know why. We always at the Master Gardeners always buy our seeds and use regular seeds. But it would be a fun experiment. And I tell you what else happens, you guys. Once you get a compost pile, and if you've had a watermelon, you're going to get free watermelons. They'll just sprout out of your compost pile. And you'll start recognizing what a watermelon sprout looks like. You'll recognize the leaf. So
I
that,
have all kinds of weird stuff sprouting in my garden.
yeah, just plant it. What the heck? If you put it in the compost, it
Mm.
means something you'd like to eat. So
Right.
it's fine. Yeah, they're free sprouts. So we're
Can you
planting.
tell us with the melons, like the spacing, because they take a lot of space, right?
They
So
do
like
take a lot of space. So
so in my grid, am I only putting a couple seeds in for an entire like square?
yes, I would only put a couple of seeds in, and you know what you're going to do if you can find the square that's near your edge. I just let mine just drape over the edge of my raised bed, and then
Okay.
they go right over the edge. That way, they're not taking up the whole bed, because a melon could really take up a lot of room on your garden.
Okay, yeah, I already have zucchini coming up, so I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So a lot of my seeds are like I just planted them like within a week or two, and I've seen the carrots and everything.
Good. Yeah, this warm weather. So this is a perfect example of why temperature is so important, and that's why we grow things at certain times of year. Like even though, and I planted you up, Candace, a little early in the season, and things just didn't really get going that fast. But I kept saying, once that temperature goes warm, boom,
Hmm.
everything's. I bet your little yum peppers, mine are just doing crazy. They're going. I've got little peppers coming out already.
Oh, I don't have peppers. We didn't put in peppers. I need to go get some.
Oh, okay. Yeah, get those peppers in. They're doing really well.
Okay.
Good. All right. So
And sorry, I noticed today at Star Nursery the herbs are half off now too. I think they're $2 instead of 4.
yeah,
But they might be, they might be,
a little sad.
yeah. I didn't look closely because I wasn't allowed to get more herbs today.
But remember, everybody, I really encourage buying healthy plants. And if they look super sad, and if you want to, you can actually just take it out of if it hasn't been watered too much, you could take it out of the plastic container, and you can see if the roots have been root bound in there. If it looks really root bound and it's really been in there for a long time, I would be hesitant to buy it and just wait. And even at this point, maybe even you could still do some seeds if you needed to. All right, so we can still plant some radishes and carrots And if you want to plant carrots, you guys, plant them at the base of your tomato plants because carrots and tomatoes are wonderful companion plants. They like each other and they take different nutrients out of the soil. So that's a good tip. And it gives the carrot a little bit of shade, not too much. And it's fun to do. So I do that. And I also plant my basil as much as you can around your tomato plants because they really like each other. And I love having my basil right there with my tomatoes. It's perfect. And of course, our sunflowers so fun. I love just to tuck them around the garden. And I actually have a couple of my sunflowers are coming up now that I've tucked in a couple of weeks ago, and they're coming up. So then the last one is the most important thing, your choice. If you get some seeds, somebody gave me some purple beans, and they're so I planted them, and they came up, and I was so excited about to get those purple beans came out, and they're so pretty. So it's like so now I have a memory, and I had another lady that gave me a cutting of something called a rose geranium. It's like a geranium, but the leaves. Have you all know about scented geraniums? There's all sorts of scented geraniums. You can get a geranium and you rub the leaf, and there's pineapple and chocolate, and it's like the mint. It's like they do all sorts of smells of geranium plants. And she gave me just a cutting of her plant, and I took it home and I put it in water and let the roots come out. And then I planted it, and now I have this beautiful rose geranium, and I always think of her. So when as we go along, we'll be meeting up, we'll be sharing seeds, we'll be sharing cuttings, and hopefully making really fun memories as you go around your garden thinking, oh, this was maybe you get a cutting from your grandmother's house or somebody's home that you remember, or you bring an earthworm home from Star Nursery.
Or on my birthday the other day, I just made my family do whatever I wanted to all day, and I made them take a garden tour
Where'd you go to on a garden tour at?
at my house.
Oh, Rosemary, that's why you're saying that because my son, every time he comes over, he knows it's a
Yeah.
mandatory. Come
Yes.
see, it's growing in the garden, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's important. Like they see me bringing in things to eat every few days, but like I want to tell them about everything. And then
Yeah.
my oldest said, "Mom, I can give this tour. I know everything." I said, "Go ahead." No.
No, good. Good. Give them the test. I love
It
it.
was hilarious.
So,
That's funny. I made my kids play tennis with me on Mother's Day.
Yes.
oh, good. See, we got it. That's how we are. We got to get these. They'll be appreciative one day.
That's
But
how
I'll try
yeah.
the garden. I think you should take them to a garden. I think that's the next step.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I know, and highly recommend that the Springs Preserve is a wonderful place. They have, you guys, at the Springs Preserve in the back, they have a test vegetable garden, and it has they're growing all sorts of things there. So it's a fun area because everything else is mostly cactus and deserty plants, but that's a very colorful area of the garden and fun for the kids to go.
I wanted to go this weekend, but with that plant sale and what the tree giveaway thing, I just thought it was too crazy.
Too much. I recommend not going.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's see. So I wanted to, because we might have some newbies watching this, I just wanted to review how to plant a seed and remind you, if you have a large seed, like a pea seed or a melon seed or a squash seed or a sunflower seed, they like to be soaked. You don't have to, but you're going to get a better germination rate if you soak it in some cool water for 6 to 12 hours before you plant them. So that's a good tip to remember. And then you just make a little divot. Now, when you plant a larger seed, it can go in deeper. So maybe one or two times the seed, the length of the seed is how deep you want to plant it. Don't want to plant it too deep, but you want to get it down there a little bit. So you make about a 1/2 inch divot and drop the seed in, cover it with good soil, and you water it immediately. And okay, I didn't put this in here, but I always have to remind everybody, don't forget to get some of those plastic or some kind of a marker and remind yourself where you planted seeds. It almost doesn't really matter if you want to put the name of what it is, because at that point, it doesn't really matter. But it is important to remember where you put your seeds, because if you're scattering them around, you got to remember where to keep sure if you're going to come back the next morning to water them, because they have to stay watered. You have to keep your seeds moist for the first until they pop up. And if they're not going to stay moist, that's another reason why, Candace, if you don't keep your seeds moist enough, they won't germinate either. So there's a lot of
Okay.
reasons why they don't germinate, is because they all don't germinate anyway, if they're old and if they're not watered enough. So there's a lot of, it's sort of hard. That's why, doing the seeds, it's a little bit, it is a more of an advanced thing to do. But I always encourage it. I always put seeds in everybody's new garden because I want people to try it and get used to having to deal with it. This is what I wanted to share, because this is a bird's eye view of what you guys are going to have next year at this time. And I know Rosemary's sort of ahead of us too, but I have tons of beautiful parsley. My Swiss chard, I just haven't stopped eating Swiss chard. I put it in everything. I put it in my vegetable soup the other day. You didn't even know it was there, and it was so delicious. And I finally got rid of my lettuces this week. I actually did a whole head and just chopped it off at the head, which is great, and it worked great. Of course, my mint and carrots and my lemongrass and the dills. I'm using it, but it's pretty much gone to seed now. And I mean, not going to flower, so it's not going to keep producing much more.
Hey,
And
Jamie, really quick, these are the labels I got recently at Amazon. You were saying to
oh
label
yes,
your seeds.
thank you. Look, I'm going to put you up there. Yeah, that
Let's see.
those are great. I'm so glad. Well, are they just like a little plastic?
So, they're wood.
Oh, they're wood. Those
They're
are
wood, yeah. And you just, label it with like a Sharpie
yep.
and then just stick them in the ground.
Those will work great. Those will
Yeah, I got a huge bag of them.
good. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all set.
You're all set, and that'll be one of those things that's going to be next week, actually. We're going to be going over what's in our tool bag, and that's one of those things that actually I'm going to have to make sure I have some kind of a Amazon
Can I
sheet.
ask a very basic question about harvesting? Because I
Yes.
have like Swiss chard that looks beautiful, but it's not enough for me to really use for a meal. But then but I don't want it to go past like my cilantro did. So I don't,
Oh,
when you harvest, are you not, like, is there a technique and how much should you take from your plant to, because you're supposed to, I just don't know like when I'm supposed to be cutting things so that they grow more, or like I took off some spinach and it's like kind of like scraggly. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have taken it off and I should have let it gotten fuller. So I'm not sure when to harvest and how to do it.
okay. So let's review harvesting. You so I'll take your specific. So everything is different. I was going to say, I'm like, that's a big question because everything is,
Sorry.
but that's a great question and it's an important question. So your Swiss chart, those are going to get quite large. So you can keep them going for a long time.
Okay.
So, and also, this is another really good experiment to say, you know what, one Swiss chard plant just wasn't enough for me. I needed at least two or three or four because I want to
Yeah.
have enough to really get a meal out. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Another thing is that we just have to make sure you've got a nice big bed. Most everybody here has plenty of space. They have multiple plants. So we do want to make sure that we're putting in enough of what we really want to eat. So that's another problem because that if you don't have a couple of them, sometimes you don't have enough. So your Swiss chard will probably keep going for a little bit longer. So you're good at keep going with it. If it feels like it's like don't you want to remember you never want to take off more than a third of the plant.
Okay.
The plant leaves are what helps it grow. So when we take off too many of the leaves, then they struggle to come back. So that might be another thing with the spinach. And I found this year, I found that my spinach production has not been the greatest, and it is a cooler weather plant. And I know you were sort of in between cool and warm, and it sort of stayed
Sure.
for a long time, which was great. But I don't know how much longer. There's something called a Malamar spinach that does do well in the heat, so we can maybe find another variety that would make more of it.
So whatever the leaves that look good right now, because there's some small, like, skinny ones coming up, but the bigger leaves, I should just go ahead and harvest then.
Yeah, as long as there's enough leaves left to keep the plant alive.
Okay, then maybe I'll leave it. Okay.
You might want to leave it for a little bit longer. Is it in the sunnier part of the garden or the shadier part?
Um, it's in the sunnier part.
Good. That's good. That means it will grow faster. I was just asking because that's another thing. I have another planter that I keep. I do keep lettuces and other things in this one, and it's in more of the shade. And I do find that that one's a lot slower growing than in the shade, than in my, the sunnier part. So we have different areas that we'll be experimenting where to put things that are going to do better.
True. That's like my lettuce is growing like crazy in the shade. It's
Yes.
bigger there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect. And I have old Fawn isn't here today, but we did a bunch of cilantro in her shady part, and I think it's still going great. And mine is all bolted because it's too sunny. So it just depends on where it is. And
Okay.
I do want to continue with your question about harvesting. Uh, let's see, what was another? It was the spinach and it was the Swiss chard. Was there anything else?
It was the spinach, a chard. Well, I just didn't know what to do with my cilantro because it was great. Then I cut it, and then I took a bunch of it, and then it seemed like after that it just kind of died.
And so, see, here's a perfect example of you thinking you did something bad when in reality, it was just the heat.
Okay, so I did the right thing by harvesting because it wouldn't have lasted anyway.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's going to be another thing that we'll be doing on a regular basis. Like for instance, when it starts to get a little bit cooler, and I know the 10-day forecast, there's going to be some frost or some cold weather. I'll be like, come on, everybody, get in that basil, get it in, get it.
Okay.
Wait, so cilantro we're supposed to pick? Because my cilantro is doing great, but it's in the shade. Is
Right.
that right?
Yeah,
So
mine's doing great. Mine does great year round, but it's mostly in the shade.
Okay.
I can keep it. Don't harvest it, over harvest it. Just
Don't
keep one third.
No, because then you can wait until it flowers and goes to seed and keep the coriander.
I know. That is the most interesting thing.
That's
I was
great. I wish I'd known that because I
but-
pulled mine and threw it away because I thought it was done.
It's so pretty.
It's okay. It's
So I
okay.
dry them and then you can eat the coriander. Is that the idea?
I
Yes.
think so. Or you can plant them again and have cilantro.
Oh, even better. Maybe a
Yeah.
combo. I'll eat some and plant some.
There you go. And you got to remember, Candace, too, it's not a pretty thing. When you let things go to seed, it's not always
Oh,
it's
okay.
so you might, because everybody has, we have some people have their garden, they want to keep it pretty. Some people don't care. I mean, it's like we all have our own agenda as far as how we're going to do this garden, and there's no right or wrong way. So it's if you need, especially too, if you don't have a lot of room, you need the room for some other things, you got to pull it out. So it's just a variety of things, but it would be fun to have something at some point, let it go to seed, just to have that experience and enjoy it that way. But like I said, once the basil, like in the fall, when it gets cold, we're going to be like, get that basil in and get rid of it because it's not going to survive. It's not going to flower. It's going to die because that's what it does. And we can get rid of it. So that's going
So
to be.
this is Joe, Jamie, and Candace. So this, like Candace, you were saying
Uh-huh.
is this 1/3 left? Like I ate some last night. I took 1, 2. You're saying you
This is
think this is
perfect.
okay?
So this is
That's
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah, see how you've
Okay.
got a bunch of big ones right here?
That's your
Yeah.
chard, Judy? Nice.
Yeah, it's rainbow chard, and I ate some
Nice.
last night. It was so good. I added it to some Brussels sprouts I already had. So I did a mix. And look at that little cilantro just growing there. Did we plant a seed there? I can't see.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
But this never
Sometimes they
really
just
grew.
pop up.
My mixed greens never really got bigger than this. This is it. Should I just pick it and eat
Yeah,
it? Or should
I
I?
would just pick it and eat it. Yeah, you can just pick it.
It's in the shade, but it doesn't seem to be getting any bigger. Okay. I'll have it for dinner tonight.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I did. I did the same thing. I had same situation. It was just like I've been watching it and I was like, you know what? It's going to get hot. It's going to bolt. And so just get rid of it.
All right.
You-
I'm going to go.
Okay.
You won't believe what I just found, or I just randomly saw a cutter bee right on my porch taking a beautiful cut leaf under the rug. And I looked under the rug and it has this most beautiful little thing that you were just talking about.
Oh my gosh.
I
It's
can't believe
crazy.
that. That's
I
wild.
know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
go look at my leaves. I'm so excited. I'm at my garden now. Like,
like,
maybe
why?
did I have a lot of bees in my backyard from my rosemary, or is there some kind of weird shrubs? Those
I'm
shrubs
gonna
are
flip
so
you
moving.
over and try to show you. This is crazy.
Okay, yeah.
Get you
Let's
in
see.
there.
Okay, so here's my rug, and it was just like do 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 coming under here, and I pull the rug back,
There it
and
is.
there it is.
It's beautiful. You guys, it really is beautiful. Isn't that fun?
It is.
I think this is unbelievable to
I
have.
did not know what that was before,
So see, you might have thought
so
it
thank
was thing.
you.
So it was just like last week when we learned about the ladybug larva. The ladybug larva looks like a
He's
dinosaur, horrible. And it's such a good bug. So it's like this is part of all our learning, right? So that was
yes.
great. Now we know that when we've got holes in our leaves, it's with they're really beautiful. It looks really like a cookie cutter. So don't
Huh.
worry about it. It's just the cutter
And
bumble.
then, how do you know when your garlic's ready to harvest?
Oh,
I will tell you when it is ready, and it's a few more months away, and it's going to turn brown and look ugly.
Oh, okay.
So we will wait for a few more months. Remember, it's our 9-month baby that we're waiting for it to come. Long time. All right, guys.
I know.
Uh, okay, we got pest of the week, the roly polies.
They're
So
pests?
they are pests. They are.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, we don't really want them in our garden, unfortunately. And so, but we do take care of them naturally. And one of the easiest way to attract them so that they're out of the garden is to put in the garden a lid filled with a little bit of beer or soda or something sweet, and they'll crawl in there and drown because their shells are heavy. So that's an easy way to take care of them. And be aware that if you do have them, that we want to get them out because they're not a good thing to have, even though they're cute. I know about you guys as a kid. I loved playing with roly polies. I thought that was so much
Me too.
fun. I had such a fun memory of them, picking them up and them going into their little roly poly stage.
If we
Oh,
see mushrooms because we had too much water, do we just pull those?
okay, that you.
Here's a mushroom
I
right
got a
here.
slide on that, so we'll get to it. One more.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna finish.
There's my mushrooms. Do yours look like that, Candace?
Let me see. Well, I just pulled them
Here.
because I was like, ah, growing fungus.
Don't worry about them. They're
And
okay. It's okay. Just a little bit too much water, and they're okay.
yeah. I have a lot of mushrooms. Mine look different than that.
Yeah,
Just
oh,
well,
interesting.
it's all different. Okay, because you know why, you guys? Because we have different stuff in our
pH.
soil. So everybody's soil is going to have more healthier. It's going to be different. Okay, okay, you guys. I'm actually getting tough on you now. I'm giving you action steps for at the end of class.
Ooh.
We got action steps. So I do want you guys to understand the importance of pollinators. So I want you to uh find a pollinator plant that you like. I want you to do some research on them. I gave you a lot of examples today. I'm going to give you a handout tomorrow. You're going to get it in the mail of a lot of really easy pollinators. And I want to see if you can find the seed of them or a plant and put them in your garden. And you'll be really excited. I want everybody to share next week which ones they picked. I'll be very interested. And so that's what I want you to do. Or even if you already have pollinators in your garden, then that's good. Then you already have them. But be aware of which ones are pollinators. I
Are
want
those Bacopa Premier white ones that you put in my corners? Are those pollinators?
no,
Those are not.
they're
Okay,
not.
so
They're just
I'm
one of
gonna
those.
add.
Yeah, yeah. You might want to add a few.
Okay.
The other thing I want to make sure you guys are doing is your daily garden check. I think everybody's really doing a good job with that. From what I can hear, you guys are doing a good. But here's the kicker, you guys. I need you to continue succession planting. I need you to get seeds or plants and make sure every week you're adding to your garden because you'd be surprised. Like Candace, you want to have enough to harvest. So to
Okay.
be able to do that, we have to keep planting, keep planting, keep planting. It just seems to be, it's a never ending thing. But be aware of that. That's one thing that I think we all tend to not do as good as we should. It's almost like we put everything in. It's a lot of work to get the, and that's why these first year, you guys, it's so much harder because everything is getting established and but next year it's going to be easier because things are going to fill in and it won't be as much work. But right now, I need you guys to keep planting, planting to keep the garden filled.
Okay.
Here's Here's what I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of ideas of these different pollinator plants, and they're very pretty. And that's it. So pick two or more pollinator plants and add them to your garden. And I was very grateful that Judy did send me her picture. You can see it better here. Here's her mushroom that's growing in her garden, which is absolutely fine. Mushrooms say that you have a lot of good organisms, healthy, you have an actually healthy soil system there. So that's a good thing. And that's because we always put in all that good rich soil into you guys. We keep adding the good fish, Fox Farms fish food, whatever that is that we put in all the time. So that's good. You can leave them, you can get rid of them. You can maybe not put as much water in. So they will just dry up, and let them compost right into the garden. It's good nutrition for your garden. So they're fine. Don't be worried about them. And I mean, I wouldn't eat them because unless you really are a mushroom connoisseur and you know they're not poisonous. I would love to be more knowledgeable about mushrooms, but right now I would just let them either dry up or don't worry about them. Okay, so let's open this up to some more questions. If anybody has questions. Next week, not 2 weeks from now, it'll be not all about tools. I'm going to have a thing about keeping them clean, keeping them sharpened, what we should have. There's going to be a lot of tricks. You're going to really like this one on tools. You'll be surprised of how much you're going to learn. So that's going to be next week. All right. So does anybody have any more questions? We have a few more minutes before we're going to, I'm going to put us big so that we can see everybody.
I have a question. I put in a lot of romaine seeds for romaine lettuce, and it came up like so much that did I not spread them out enough, or this is good? Can you see this? It's like a carpet. Can you see this?
Yeah, you're going to have, well, okay. So yes, what I would do if I was you, I would get some tweezers
Okay.
and a little plate of some sort and tweeze them out so that they're a good 1/4 inch apart, at least, maybe even an inch apart. So you're going to get rid of a lot of them. And all the ones you take out, you're going to eat them as microgreens.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a lot there. And also
I was like, I'm growing so many. I didn't know what to do.
that's great. Yeah, no, I mean, this is what you do, you guys. I love it that you took the effort to do this, that you tried. You got to try it. If we don't try, you can't learn if you don't learn how. And it's not even the end of the world. It's great. More is the more merrier. And if you really want to try, you could even try taking some of them. If you get a really good root from it, you can try putting them around different areas of
Okay.
the garden if you want to try that. They don't always make it, but they either eat them
But they should be an inch apart,
at
like
least.
each
Yeah,
sprout.
when you think about a romaine lettuce, the head of it's going to be about that big.
Okay.
So you want them not too close together.
Okay. Well, then did I make the same mistake with my carrots then? Because let me see if you can see them. See, these are all coming up.
Yeah,
These little green.
yes. Yeah, you put a lot in. That's okay. Yeah, just get those tweezers out and give it, because you think about a carrot, it's about maybe a nickel or
Hmm.
a nickel or a 1/4. That's how far apart they need to be, because otherwise the carrots are going to go like this. They're going to grow funny.
Okay, so I need to separate them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things it's called thinning.
Okay.
Then it is heartbreaking because it's a
It's a
plant.
little bit.
It's
Right.
heartbreaking. And that's another thing for a beginner, especially. It's heartbreaking. But what happens is if we don't thin, you're going to say, oh, my carrots didn't do well. Well, they all competed for
That's why.
nutrition. They competed for nutrition. They competed for space. And they all just went, we're not going to bother. So
And I think
Mm.
sometimes it's not where you place them. I think sometimes they move, like they blow, like they get blown or something, because mine ended up in patches that make no sense.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, because you
Okay.
know what happens when you water them? They
Yeah.
sort of float
Yeah.
around. So that could actually happen too.
Okay, then how about the zucchini? I'm sorry, I'm such a beginner that I have to
Yeah,
ask
I know. I
specific
love
questions.
this. I love this.
So I have 4 zucchini blooms now, but are they not, are they too close together?
Yes. And those are easy to transplant to another spot. So I love it in that corner. So I
Okay.
would get one out of maybe to another corner.
Okay, but they just, so these two are fine and I just need to separate these two.
I would, yes.
Okay, all right.
Good. What
Where are we with tomato plants? Like, are we where, like, I'm leaving the flowers because I had thought that, like, I'm just leaving.
so wait, did I never put tomatoes in there?
No, I've got tomatoes. They're in the cages. So like,
Yes. Yeah,
do I just,
leave
they're,
it.
okay, just leave the flowers, just
Yeah.
trim the sides. Okay, because the one in the middle is growing and the other two are lagging behind, but it just might be the variety.
Yes. Let me look. So tell me, and you're saying
Okay.
something about trimming. I'm getting nervous. Tell me
Okay,
what.
so I have, so this is the early girl,
Okay. She's doing good.
and then this one is doing great. This is the brandy vine,
Great.
and that's very tall. And then this one is the cherry.
Oh, not looking good. Oh, wait, that's okay. Yeah.
But I've been taking, like, I trimmed off like the sides just because they're getting wide, but I haven't done much with it. I just letting it grow.
Oh, you don't really need to trim tomatoes.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry about them. The
Don't
only,
prune. I
no,
mean, pruning? No pruning?
not really. Now,
Just the dead stuff, right?
yeah, just dead stuff. But now you can't, especially when they're babies, they need those leaves to keep them growing. Now,
Okay.
as they get huge, because they're going to go way up
Yep.
and huge,
Okay.
then we'll talk about some pruning. But right
Oh,
now,
okay. So
it's
don't prune now. Okay.
a great question. See, these are good. This is like you don't know if you don't ask, and everybody needs to learn like this. Not everybody knows. So that's a really good question. Yeah, just let them go crazy. We're going to start tying them up as they get bigger. We can tie
Okay.
them up line and they'll just grow right up and they'll be beautiful. So hopefully you'll have some tomatoes.
When
And
do we expect fruit?
in another probably 2 months.
Oh, okay. That long. Okay.
Yeah, depends. And the smaller ones, of course, your cherry tomatoes will go faster.
Okay. Super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And it looks good. The garden looks good there.
Yeah. But see, my spinach looks like it's growing stuff out of it, but I just
That's
need to,
bolting. See, that's bolting. That means it's
so I
done.
should just carve it. When you say done, just pull it, like take the leaves and then just, I'm done with that plant.
Yeah, and you can actually, if you wanted to, if you had those, you have those, did you have those little needle nose, the blue ones, little needle nose pruners?
Yep.
I would cut the base and let the roots stay in there
Hmm.
and decompose, unless, of course, you end up putting a plant there, and then you can just take the whole thing out and put a plant.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Okay.
So I want to do, I know it's 6 o'clock, we want to go, but I want to show you guys really quick. I just want to show you my, the arugula seeds because they're so cool looking. So let me show you really, really quick. I should have had them out. Okay, here we go. Cool. I've got some clients raised beds out here. They're really pretty. We painted them white. It's gonna be really cool. So here's the arugula flower. And it's so interesting. They have these, this is what they have the arugula. So this is the flower. And then they
Hmm.
have pods like this,
Oh,
which are
wow.
cool. They're very cool. And I'm going to take one off here and I'm going to sit down and see if I can get this to show you. So seed inside. Okay, so these are green. So these are green. See how green they are?
Hmm.
Did find some that were brown, so I'm going to wait and let these stay on the vine longer. Like this one I'll have to throw away. But so that's what I'm showing you about seeds saving is that you do, and it's not a pretty thing. I wanted to show you. It's not really pretty. It's just sort of dangly and ugly. But this is where it's in a pot, so it's away from everything. So I'm just letting it go to seed, but not everybody's going to want to let things go to seed. So that's your little lesson on seeds. And I want to show you my tomato so you can see how it's really
Ooh.
very big and it's really gangly. So I did not prune it much.
Okay.
I'll let it go. Okay. So
Okay.
anybody, one more little quick question and then we'll go. Everybody good? All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. This was great. I love it when we're outside in our yards and we find cutter bees and Rosemary, I couldn't have had a better demonstration of a cutter bee.
That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is that leaf crawling across the ground? What is happening right now? Yeah, I have my Mexican blanket. If anybody wants the seeds from that
What
for the
is the
pollen.
Mexican blanket?
I think you called it Indian blanket.
Oh yeah,
So
Indian or
Jamie?
Mexican blanket. Yeah, it's similar.
And then I really didn't know what I was doing, but I just kind of kept the stuff. I also have chaparral sage. I don't know if you can start that from seed.
oh,
It's so
probably
pretty.
is it? You know, that might be something
Yeah.
inside than outside, but I've never started those from outside.
I have hot lips.
Yes. What's hot lips?
That's those pretty. I can show them to you. And well, you know what I can do? I'll just take a picture of the seeds that I have and send them to you, and then send you a picture of the plant so you can look. And then if you want to try, I just don't know if they're gonna go or not. I just saved them anyway.
I think a lot of the flowers, like those kind of flowers, are really best planted in the spring. So
Okay.
it might be a bit late. And that's why I was thinking even in the fall. Let's do this. Let's save everything because I do believe it's getting a little bit hot for those kind of things. I say we have a seed swap in the fall and everybody put those seeds in the fall and they'll overwinter and then they come up in the spring.
Cool.
That's going to be the best luck of it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Then they come up whenever they're ready.
And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So look for your replay tomorrow and your handouts. And I challenge everybody to keep planting and find some new pollinators plants. And then we can share them with we can share what we planted and that'll be fun. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
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 Bye.